Okay, friends, so we've gotten ourselves through the first 4 links here. Let's take a look at this 5th one. It's called the Rules Hints page, and it's probably what you think about when you think about like the 10 Commandments type of syllabus. Thou shalt not. That kind of stuff, right? I've got to have it in here. If I don't have it in here, it's not a contract for us to work on. So what I've done is I've put the high points of things that I've noticed over the past 20 years of doing this job that need to be talked about. Okay, like I will mass email, here's just one I happen to stop at, a weekly progress report. I will not personally email you grades. The reason this is in here is because I think with the, I've been doing this for 20 years plus now, and I think people have become more and more used to getting instant feedback all the time. We are not set up for that here. We are set up for quick feedback, but not instant feedback. And personally emailing out grades to people just slows down the quick process even more. So that's why I mass email you 11 progress reports, one at the end of each week, or at least as close to the end of each week as I can do it. I want to make sure you understand that. I also want to make sure that you understand why I do that thing. So I got you some text under there. Let's just scroll down and stop randomly. Study constantly and effectively. Ask questions during class. I think a lot of people are afraid to do that. I don't want you to be afraid. I'm Italian. I love when people ask me questions. I love learning with you. Okay? Anyway, let's scroll back up here. If you submit or try to submit an assessment in Blackboard after the due date in time, you'll receive no credit. We already talked about that briefly. Here's again a list of why and a list of what happens if I get sick, what happens if the weather's bad, and things like that. So there's a lot of stuff here. Okay, not a ton. There used to be twice as much. I've actually stripped it down quite a bit. But rather than read it all to you in this video, what I've done instead, if you go back to the schedule page, you'll notice that during the first week, every class has something called a website quiz. Website quiz. Every single class. If you click on any of them, they take you to the same spot. And they're all the same quiz. All my classes have the same quiz. Okay? If you've had me in class before, this should look similar, although I did change some questions, so be careful. You can't just resubmit the last one. It's a true-false quiz, simply about some of the statements that are on that page. So right here it says you can submit an assessment in Blackboard at any time for full credit. Your job is to go back to that rules hints page and see if that's true based on what's here. Then, question number 2. One thing you might want to do is open this in a new tab, and that way you can go back and forth a little more easily. Oh, just so you know, in order to do that, you right-click on the link and then open it. I will most likely forget anything said to me before or after class, and your job is to scroll through there and see if that's true or false. If you missed the due date, blah, blah, blah. And anyway, so you got 10 things, 1 point each. So this quiz is worth 10 points. And then you get to practice submitting it to me in Blackboard. There'll be a place in Blackboard for submissions, right? There'll be a place in Blackboard for submissions. I can't do it at this moment. I'm making this video in the summertime, and I can't do it right now because Blackboard hasn't been set up for me yet. As soon as it is, it'll be there. And it'll say something like Blackboard, or it'll say something like quiz, website quiz. And then you click on that, and then you submit to there. You have to either send me a Word document or a PDF. It's your choice as to which you want to use, because they'll both open for me. One way students do this is they simply, on a piece of scrap paper, legibly write the number 1 and then true or false, the number 2, then true or false, the number 3, then true or false, and then they make a PDF of that. Some students print this whole thing, which is totally fine. Not necessary, but totally fine. Some people type up a Word document and then send that to me. Again, totally fine. You've got lots of options, but that's how you get this quiz to me. Also, I'm going to close this quiz off and go back out to my schedule page. You may have noticed there are some other quizzes for certain classes. We got some primer quizzes for Math 105. We got a primer quiz for Math 243. Sorry, Math 244. You've had enough primer quizzes if you've had me in the other classes. These are clickable. And then if you look at this up here, notice how you've got some fun problems to look through. This is all pre-stat stuff. It's all basically arithmetic for the most part. Some folks use algebra, and that's fine. Notice that one has a W on it, which means something special. And you remember what that means, I hope. I've got some video links occasionally for things to clear things up. So anyway, these are quizzes offered to you. None of these quizzes are mandatory. None of these quizzes are mandatory, which means you can not turn either of them in, and it won't affect your grade one way or the other. Most students do, especially the website quiz, because they figure it's a great way to get jump started on that 10 quiz minimum that you have to submit for the classes. So any of those quizzes you can do, and you can submit. Just make sure they're in a form I can open. Cool? And that's what these next weeks will look like. By the middle of the week 1, I will have quizzes linked in week 2. Same drill. By the middle of week 2, I'll have them linked in week 3, and so forth. Cool? All right. So that's the rules hints page. One more quick video to talk about these links, and then we're done.